Hey there, and welcome to another video. There are usually a lot of people asking me, like, what do you do for work, or what's going on, how's your life situation, and like, how's everything going? Usually, when I stream, people want to know, like, what am I doing for a living? And people get confused when I bring up that I'm sick, I have health problems, and I don't work, I can't work, no matter how much I would want to. Um, yeah, I think I've done a small video on that in the past. I don't remember what I went over and what I didn't went over, but I felt I'm gonna make an updated video talking about my health, my well-being, and all the things that are diagnosed and not diagnosed, because I've been under health investigation for I think over 10 years now. It's like 12 years, but I've been under investigation for a bunch of things, and Swedish healthcare is extremely slow. It takes forever to get anything done here. But I'm gonna go over the things that are concrete that I can say, like, this is on paper, this is proven that I have, and then there are things that are being tested and that are being gonna be evaluated in the near future. And I let you guys make your own conclusion about my well-being. Uh, This is a very hard video for me to make in general because many of my issues are chronic pain, chronic, like, how do you say it, discomfort, like heart palpitations and things like that. And I walk around with these things from morning to night every single day. And it's been like that since I was maybe 15, 16, it started. And it's when you have pains all the time, frequently, when you have discomforts, when all these things are going through, you kind of just want to disconnect from it and forget it. That's the thing. I don't That's why I usually ignore comments on streams. It's like, imagine that you're on a walk and you get a pebble in your shoe, and imagine that you wouldn't have arms and no one there and you can't get it out. Let's say you can't get the shoe off, and so you always have a pebble. It's like in your sock. So no matter where you go, every time you take a step, it's gonna hurt. Now, after 5 years, you'd probably just want to ignore it and forget about it. And I think in 10 years' time, you would probably have mastered like trying to ignore it to the point where you kind of don't want to think about it. Like you almost kind of forget it. You still feel it, but kind of forget it in a sense. It's very hard to describe, but I'm sure there's some viewers who have some kind of problem and understand that can understand what I'm going through and what I mean by it. But anyway, let's go over the problems. And so number one, I would put they're not in like a severity list. They're all gonna be random. Like, one is worse than other isn't worse than other. It's just like I'm just going through them all. Like, it's not like some kind of this is worse than the other. It's just like not in order. But I have an open stomach mouth, and some people might wonder what is that. It's basically there's a part somewhere in your stomach where when you eat, it opens up and then it closes. Like when you're not eating, when you're not doing anything, then it's supposed to be closed, and it keeps like the stomach acid from kind of leaking. But mine is open, like mine never closes. So basically, I have stomach acid kind of leaking up into my throat, and that can cause that can be a reason for many things, but it basically always causes me to feel very ill. I usually feel like throwing up. I feel sick every time I eat. Like, it can be anything from a sandwich to fruit. I usually feel very sick. Sometimes I feel like throwing up. I rarely ever do, but I do feel very sick frequently. And they did a gastroscopy, I think it's called. It's when they take a camera and they pull it through your mouth and throat all the way down to your stomach. And like, we're gonna get into it later, but I have like difficulties breathing too. And I remember when they did that, I passed out. So because I couldn't breathe, and so I just completely went out. But they managed to do the test, and yeah, that's what they discovered. Secondly, my throat, and this is the one I feel most of the day. It's very, very annoying, but I have a very it's like someone is literally choking me. It's like someone has like a neck hold like around my throat, and it's like from the moment I wake up to the moment I fall asleep. And it's it's very hard to breathe. It's very like exacerbated, I think is the call. Not the call, the word. It usually every time when I swallow, it like clicks, and there's like muscles popping around in my throat all the time. And sometimes my swallow reflex completely disappears. So sometimes I can't eat without having water at hand. And sometimes it sounds very strange, but this is true. A doctor tested this on me. Sometimes water gets stuck in my throat. It's so bad that like it takes time. Water kind of sticks in my throat because it's like so messed up. So yeah, it's very annoying to eat. It's hard to breathe because of it, and it's always there's always bothering me a lot. And yeah, the thing with the throat, and I don't know if it has with the throat to do or not, is it also makes it hard to speak, which is sometimes when I stream, I have to end the stream early because it's like I don't know if it's the throat or if it's the stomach or what it is, but I just have a very hard time to breathe, and it's like very hard to talk to the sometimes my voice just gives up and it starts hurting and I just can't talk anymore. Uh, it's like it can be like that from random sometimes after a few minutes, sometimes after a couple hours, and then there are days where it's much better. So it's something the speaking part comes and goes, but it is a problem nevertheless. So I am going through an EDS test because my wife has EDS, and EDS is basically, I think it's what's it called? It's like some kind of it's called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I've done a simple test so far, and I qualify around half of them. Like half of the tests I passed. My doctor is a bit unsure if they want to give me the diagnosis, so they're gonna send me for further evaluation. But it would be an explanation to like why I'm having pains everywhere and some of my problematics. It can be to EDS, but I qualify for half of the symptoms, so that is something that is still under investigation. Another thing that is confirmed is that I have a heightened pain sensor, which means more or less that I feel stronger pain to things that other people wouldn't find very painful, like a cut, a burn, things like that. My body reacts to very, very strongly, very frequently. Like my body is extremely like sensitive to things. I also have jolting chest kicks. Basically, sometimes your heartbeat can hit twice, which is normal, but it's different for everyone. Most people don't feel it. Some people feel it a little bit, and then for some people it can be painful and it can be jolting where it happens over and over again. And I have very, very painful jolting chest kicks where sometimes it's like someone takes a hammer and just literally smashes me in the chest, and it's like all the air disappears, and it's a very scary feeling. It used to trigger a lot of anxiety, but I've kind of learned to deal with it more and more with time. But it's still very scary when it happens. It's not really, they tell me it's not dangerous, but it's very, very scary when it happens. Next up is, I don't really know how to spell it or say it, Tietzel. I think it's something like this, like a form of chronic muscle inflammation that sits in the chest, which is usually around this area. It's a very, how do you say it? It's a very uh, physical pain. Like you can touch it and feel it. Like you can kind of touch the pain when it happens, and you know that's what's acting up. But it's basically a chronic muscle inflammation that can sometimes feel like a heart attack, basically. And it comes at random. Sometimes it's very crippling to the point where you can't really do anything but just take a break. Uh, and sometimes it's just mild discomfort or pain, but it's something that comes and goes, and that is something that has been confirmed. Another thing that they have tested me for and confirmed is I have a very shaky syndrome, meaning like my hands, my legs, my eyesight, like everything is very shaky. Like I can't be still with my hands. Everything is like very disorienting for me, and yeah, it's that's something that's been very confirmed and tested. There are some days when that is a little bit better, but there's never a time where I don't shake. And another thing that is confirmed is I have an overactive brain, meaning my brain activity is a bit higher than it should be. They did like a test where they hook those things up to you, and then they like check like your brain waves or whatever it's called, and they do like they put you in the tube, and they like scan your head and everything. They so they told me that I have my brain is very i- like I can't really relax. So, I always overanalyze. I think too much, and while most people can kind of like relax, and especially in the evening when they're tired, my brain goes like in overload. So it's something my father has too. So it's something I guess I got from him. So I don't really want to go into psychological things, but there are things I have been tested for that they have like confirmed, like psychologically speaking, like mental wise. Number one is Asperger. I have Asperger syndrome. I have severe dyslexia, and they did when I was around 15, 16, when I went to like a psychiatric institution to get like my diagnosis and to get tested. They did like one of those like mental tests where they see how much like what's your concentration and how's your learning capability, and basically how fast you get tired and all that. And on the scale of 1 to 100, like the average was around 50, 60, while mine was at 20. So that's yeah, as it's the mental part. Now there are that's the things that are concrete. There are things, problematic things I go with every day that they still haven't been able to fully diagnose. They are things that they're gonna hopefully find something about in the future, or they can be related to the things that are already confirmed, but might not be severe enough to get their own diagnosis. I don't know how it works, but so my breathing issue and chest tightness and the speaking issue, all of it, even though they do find that there's something wrong with it, they can't really figure it out. Like when I was at the I was in a throat specialist place in the hospital, and I met like three different doctors, and they could all agree that there's something wrong with my throat, uh, but they couldn't really put their hand on it. Like they thought it was a very unusual situation, so they just basically wrote it down as, yeah, he has difficulties with he has like a problematic, but they couldn't really figure it out. But the chest tightness, the speaking issues, and my throat is like kind of a mystery to why it's going on. Another thing that is a mystery are my heart palpitations, because more or less all day long, no matter what I do, I get heart palpitations. Like I can wake up from heart palpitations. I have heart palpitations keeping me from falling asleep. The moment I eat, it becomes very severe. It's there all the time and can be from whatever reasons, but it's a problematic that isn't fully diagnosed. Another thing is chronic tiredness. I am sleepy all day long, no matter what I do. Like I can have days where I try to push myself physically and work out, because I do work out as much as I can. Um, and I can have days where I like work a lot on my diet. Like I can have a full week where I live super duper healthy, and I'm still tired. Like no matter what I do, I'm always tired. It can be related to my overactive brain. It can be whatever. I don't know why, but I'm always tired no matter what. Uh, Another thing is the endless discomfort and pain. It is, it never stops. It's like I wake up and I fall asleep, and all day in between, it's always discomfort. It's always some kind of pain, be it headache, be it back pain, be it the chest, be it the teeth. It's always something that hurts, and it's very crippling. And like imagine everything hurts. You can't breathe. You can't speak sometimes, and you're tired, and it never goes away. And yeah, it's basically how it is. There are days where it's a little bit better. Usually on good days, I wake up and I have like 3 to 4 hours of energy to do important things, and then after that, I can't do much else. Like so, I wake up, I work out, I lift my weights, I take a exercise walk, like I clean the apartment or the house. I like try to be productive, and then in a few hours, it's all downhill. Lastly, also, I do have a sleeping issue. Whenever I have a huge, it's probably related to my overactive brain, but I do have a very, very hard time falling asleep. They tried to do a sleep test. Like I've been to a sleep clinic and they did a sleep test, but it was kind of inconclusive. So they're looking into giving me another test. Whenever I lay on my back, I stop breathing. And when I lay on sides, like I get heart palpitations, and I can basically only lay down on my stomach to have some kind of form of falling asleep. And usually it messes up my whole sleep schedule because the only way I fall asleep is by basically passing out. So every day I am awake to the point where I pass out because I can't just go to bed. I can't just lay down and fall asleep because it's too much discomfort, pains, and difficulties in my body all the time where I just can't sleep. It just wakes me up. So basically, I just am awake until I pass out. And I've tried sleep medications, but it's kind of it's there are sleep medications that have worked for a period of time, and then they put me in a very spooky, painful, torturous night cycle where like they make me tired to where I fall asleep, and then my breathing and the heart palpitations wake me up. I fall asleep, I wake up, but I'm too tired to move. So basically for hours I just lay there paralyzed, waking up from like heart palpitations and like lack of oxygen, falling asleep, waking up, falling asleep, and it's like that for it's extremely painful. So I'm very scared of trying a sleep medication again, even though that they could possibly help me. Most of the side effects of sleep medication also is that you get way more tired than I'm already am. So I don't know. I'm not sure which medications I could try for my sleep. Um, Something to point out also, for before people start theory crafting about what my issues can be. I've had my heart checked, and there's nothing wrong with my heart inherently. Like they've done multiple EKGs, which is like when they check your heart, and they did one work EKG. You know, when you ride a bike and they check your heart while under load. So they didn't find anything like organically wrong. They've done multiple blood tests on me throughout the years, and they don't find any like severe disease that can be found. Like there's no they can't find like anything like organ failure or anything like that. So it's very like the things that they have concrete things on, they have been explained, but all the other things are kind of like they don't really know what it is. But it's hopefully gonna be uh, hopefully they find something in the near future, because it's not very fun living like this. I can guarantee you that. You know, when I was young, when I was going to school, I was maybe 14, 15. I used to always say, oh, I wish I didn't have to go to school, and all I wanted was to be at home and like just chill every single day. And if the trade-off to that would have been like all these physical problematics, it's not a good trade-off. It is not. But yeah, it is how it is. Anyway, hope you all like the video, understand a little bit more about my situation when it comes to my health. Despite the fact that I might look healthy, I might look normal, I am definitely not. Like neither mentally or physically. But yeah, I'll see you all in the next one.